It's Behringer NDX 2400.
Oh, let me look it up. Let me look it up. Yeah, it's just 4 channels of compression.
Sounds like the last weekend you had a busy weekend, huh? I guess maybe Brian got home.
The 2400, it's just a 4-channel compressor. So the other one's a compressor limiter. You could probably get rid of that 2400 too. I mean, you don't need that many channels of compression. You're just going to use one channel.
Yeah, I was kind of reading that too, Billy. I don't know, maybe he just had these pieces. Who knows? They do seem like they're repetitive.
Well, that would be useful for like mixing a live show or something where, you know, you got a drum kit and vocalist and a bass guitar player and, you know, you want to throw compressors on a bunch of that stuff. You need a lot of channels of compression, but for what we do, I mean, one stereo unit is like, that's it. You can go in and out of it, and you don't need, what would that be, 6 channels of dynamics processing? You don't need that for a single mono source, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. I tried to get him to part it out, but he wouldn't do it. But it was cheap. So, really stuff brand new is kind of expensive, but when you look at them in the used market, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get much for that stuff, but you know, if you want to sell it, or hold on to it, just all that stuff. I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's repetitive. You don't need all those pieces. I would just hold on to the compressor limiter and the headphone amp. Headphone amps are great.
Brian's not going to be. Brian, that was the one thing he may have been interested in. I guess I'll have to take a look at it. I can make him a good deal on a MDX 2400 interactive quad compressor and a gate. All right, Billy, so what have you been up to? I hadn't heard you in the last couple nights.
Well, I was on yesterday afternoon and talking to Clark and stuff, but I got off pretty early. The band just went dead. There was nobody out here. And then I kind of like started doing other stuff. I heard some other people out here last night, and it was just like, you know. Let's see. Today, I did some electrical work on the house. That's about it. I didn't work today. Not working tomorrow. So I'm just hanging out. I've got this hum on my stream, but I feel like it's on the receiver, like the AC line that's feeding this crap is getting modulated somehow or whatever. I don't know, but it's not in the transmitter. It's just what you hear on the stream. This real bad hum. I can see it on the IF. But whatever. Did some better grounding over here. Didn't really fix it, but I didn't work on it too much. So I don't know. It is what it is. Ever since I remoted this crap, I've had this problem. W2BTK.
Whiskey 3 Oscar Hotel. Yeah, I'll have to go over to your, is this on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm streaming on Twitch. I kind of stopped streaming to YouTube and Facebook because in order to do that, I have to use this restream service, and it sucks. The chat sucks. A lot of my alerts and things don't work, and it's just a pain. It's easier to just go straight to Twitch.
You don't have to use OBS.
Well, yeah, that's what I use, but I just threw my stream key from Twitch in there. I was using a restreaming thing that I would stream to, and then it would split it to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, but I don't need that. Facebook's a cesspool. YouTube, nobody watches on YouTube. I get 2 views a night. It seems like Twitch is where it's at.
Yeah, it's interesting, Billy. So, well, my younger son was I guess he he does a little bit of live streaming when playing video games with his friends. So he knew all about how to set up. He actually set something up down here I could play with, but I had never even heard of Twitch until Perry mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I mean, I know about YouTube, obviously, but I had never heard of this until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun site. I mean, yeah, it's for gaming mostly, but I'm streaming in the just chatting category.
All right, sorry about that, Billy. I waited to, I turned off the speaker on the Flex so I could hear you on Twitch to see if I could hear the hum. Just as I got it switched over, you stopped talking.
And I'm trying to. My webcam's all grainy today. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Man, I don't know, Billy. I guess there's a very slight hum. Really slight, though. I guess I'd have to hear it again. Try again. Oh yeah. Okay. That time I did hear it. Yeah. I didn't hear it before while you were talking, but in the space, I could definitely hear it.
Yeah, that's on my receiver. So it's weird.
Yeah. I don't know. That looks like an interesting thing to figure out, and it wasn't there before.
Oh, and I had the. Sorry about the echo. I had my. I was double feeding my mic in.
I only caught the last part of what you said. I had the flex turned down and turned you down off the computer. Too many buttons to switch around.
My webcam doesn't look very good today.
Oh, it looks all right on this end. Got a little bit of a different view. I can see your scope now, your oscilloscope. A little bit different position on your fireplace.
Yeah, I'm always moving the damn thing around, so I'm not surprised that it's doing weird stuff.
Is that your compressor and limiter above the O-scope?
Yeah, are you watching the feed? Oh, well, there's probably a lag. So this piece at the top, that's a monitor controller. It's kind of like a headphone amp. It just routes audio for my receiver, and that's how I control the volume of it. Below that's a blank panel. This is my main audio processor. It's a multi-band dynamics processor with a Vorsys VP8 Plus. Below that is my channel strip mic preamp, and that's got, I'm using it as a preamp, and then there's an EQ in there that I do some EQ with. Below that is the reverb unit that I'm using. Obviously you know what the scope is, my watt meters. Then I have receive attenuators down here. There's a headphone amp tucked back there that I don't use, and then this bottom unit is a Wohler distribution amplifier that I'm using as speakers that I listen to you guys on.
W3 MMR.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the box you have it in there. Do you have a fan in the box to keep it all cool?
No, there's enough space between everything that I don't need a fan in there. That's why I have this blank up top, because the VP8 processor puts off the most heat. Well, actually, no, the scope puts off the most heat, but it kind of vents out the side here. Like the fans blow this way and it comes out. And this thing generates some heat, so I put a blank space above it, and it all stays nice and cool. But down this wooden table here, hold on, I moved my camera and I'll key right back up.
Hello, Dave. And hello, Billy.
And W2SDR.
And hello, Pop.
Howdy, everybody.
A virtual tour of Billy's station here, and I didn't quite catch the second station. I keep switching between Billy's live feed and the radio.
Well, I'm here, Dave, and then that's the other person. That's my father.
Well, that's that. Tour's over. Listen to Perry and Frank.
SDR, software defined radio.
Yeah, W2SDR. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, W2SDR. This is Whiskey 3 Oscar Hotel, Dave in Southern Maryland. Currently getting a virtual tour of Billy's radio room, which was kind of cool because I think he was getting ready to turn the camera. I want to see what he's got in front of him there.
Oh, okay. That's cool. W3OH. What was your name?
The name here is David. Man, you sound like Perry.
Well, at least I don't look like him.
Hey now.
Yeah, people have mentioned that. You know, I guess it's in the genes, man. It's cool. It's cool having a son as a fellow ham. It's pretty cool. Nice to meet you, David. Frank here. I'm in Salem County, southern New Jersey, about 40 miles west of Atlantic City.
Yeah, copy that. All right, Billy. You guys show me the front of that station or what?
Oh, I'm just waiting my turn.
I think it's your turn.
Oh, are we good? All right, let me move my camera back down into position, and then we can continue our conversation. So we were talking about cooling the fans. This is like a regular home stereo receiver, and that does, you know, my computer audio and all that. There's a big ass we had two 12-inch subwoofers over on the other side of the room, and these really nice bookshelf speakers, and that hits that. And below it, down here, can't really see it. That's my old modulator that I'm using now to power the subwoofers. And this thing puts off a tremendous amount of heat, so I had to install a fan back here, back there, to just blow air through here, and now that runs real cool. And what you see down there with the blinking light that's kind of going with my voice, that's actually my modulator that modulates the Viking 2. So that's more or less it in a nutshell. This is a little tiny CB radio. It's a Uniden PC33, and I use it as a mouse pad for my SDR computer, which you can see in the background there. So that's the computer that's generating the image that's in the background of my live feed, and that's piped over to the computer that I'm streaming off of via NDI output. Let me unkey for 1 sec. There you go. Then there's the streaming PC that I just built. So yeah, there you go. That's like the whole operating position in a nutshell. W2BTK, go ahead, take it away, guys.
Billy, I think they may have moved up to 3885 since we were in the middle of a QSO. Yeah, so pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like the CB being the mouse pad. If I heard you right, that's pretty. Oh, it is. I can actually see it now. You're actually using the CB radio as a mouse pad. That's pretty funny. Yeah, okay. Very nice. Good setup. Yo, and I see you got a commenter there, Bob. Yeah, the wine glass I noticed also was empty.
Oh, well, crap. Let me do something about that. Hang on.
Yeah, that's not fair, Billy, that you can fill. That's not fair that you can fill up right from there. I have to go all the way upstairs.
That thing is dirty, man. Hold on, I gotta wash it out.
Doesn't look like there's anything in there that's gonna kill you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's nice that they moved up there. It didn't seem like they were really wanting to talk about anything we were talking about. So that's good. Like, you start, like, if you just want to talk to somebody else, you just go to another frequency, and then the two of them can talk about whatever they want, and then we can continue our conversation. It's nice. had they wanted to interject, maybe ask a question about what we were talking about, then yeah, by all means, key up on the frequency. But to just key up and change the topic and inject yourself, I consider that a little bit rude. But the fact they moved, that's really cool. That's not rude. W2BTK.
Yeah, I think it was fine. I didn't realize Perry's dad was a ham. And man, if he hadn't told me that, man, he sounds just like Perry. It actually threw me off for a second.
Well, in all fairness, I think Perry sounds like him.
All right, well, that is probably the better way to say it, Billy. You're right. Perry sounds like him. I mean, you know, I know, I don't know. I mean, I don't sound anything like my dad, I don't think. So, that's pretty interesting. I wonder what they look alike.
I don't know. I've never met either of them. I gotta tilt my mic when I'm wearing a hat.
I do that too. I gotta flip the hat around backwards, gangster style, I guess.
I just got this hat. That's Daddy Music. You could see him on Twitch or Instagram and all that crap. He makes pretty cool music. I support him. It's like, you remember emo? It's like a blend of emo and like EDM techno. It's pretty good stuff. So yeah, I got my Daddy Music hat.
Huh. I don't know if I really remember emo music, but I'll have to check it out. I mean, I know what EDM is, so yeah, I'll have to check it out. I like all kinds of music.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Man, you got a hum, and I'm getting feedback on my speakers. I hate that.
Do you hear the hum being transmitted though? Oh yeah, look at that, it is. Damn, yeah, it's in the transmit too.
I don't hear it as much, Billy, on the on my receive side coming through the flex. Nowhere near like I can hear it on your Twitch channel.
Yeah, well, a lot of the hum is in my receiver. Not to say that there's none in my transmit, but I'm getting like a badass hum in the D mod.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it that much, if at all. I have to listen again, but on over the radio, definitely you can easily hear it on the Twitch live feed.
Yeah, I gotta see about that. I don't exactly know. I think it's, the AC lines that are feeding all this crap are being modulated by something. It's got RF in it, so it doesn't change any power level. It's always there. So I've got to see why that is. Now, hold on, let me try something.
Yeah, go ahead, Billy. I'm not really detecting a whole lot on my end on the radio, on your transmission. I mean, you sound like you always do. There's a little edginess, but I think that's the band, because I think I heard it on my voice on your live feed as well.
Nah, it didn't change a damn thing. Oh well. It's all good. I'm just screwing around anyway. If somebody was paying me to do this, then I would probably figure it out. But it's just a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. That's So I couldn't help myself going to grab this stupid limiter compressor. I told Brian, I said, the only reason I saw it, it was close by, and I wanted it because I wanted to put my hands on it and play around with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, having a compressor limiter is nice. I mean, what are you running right now for audio processing?
A Flex 6400. I mean, really, it's very, very simple at the moment, Billy. I mean, I'm just going through the 6400, using the EQ in the 6400, and I am going through a Alesis multi-mix for the microphone, but I'm not doing anything to and then it just runs to the Amatron ALADB. So that's it. I don't have any other processing going on in the chain. I mean, the Flex 6400 has a little bit of has an AM carrier dial you can play with a little bit, which it kind of brings down your carrier power a little bit, giving you a little bit more headroom up above in theory. Right now I have it turned down a little bit because some guys are saying they run it around 95 to 90. If I run it, I'm running it at 90. If I run it at 85 on the scope, I get a perfect AM envelope when using a 1 kilohertz tone. But I have it up a little higher than that right now.
Yeah, that's cool. Sine waves are, I mean, they're useful, but not that useful. You always want to test with voice, because voice has asymmetry. It's a complex waveform, and, setting everything up with the sine wave is like, okay, but you're never going to repeat that condition in practical use, talking into the thing. So what I usually do is I'll record myself through whatever audio processing I have and then play it through the transmitter, and then, make changes to that, or, make changes to the audio processing, and then play the recordings through again and again and again, A-B, and do it that way, all with voice.
Yeah, someone may have tried to break in there at the end. I'll leave a space, or we leave a space when I'm done. One interesting thing on this Flex, I've just started playing with it. You can run a full duplex mode. You can put the other slice onto the same band, put the one you're transmitting on to the transverter, and you can actually hear yourself over the airwaves, which is pretty cool. And then there's some, I had to look into this also a little bit more. There's another program you can use, Audacity, with the Flex, and send your files over to there and check them out over there too. But yeah, I agree. I mean, it's all about how you sound, not what that sound wave looks like. The good thing for me is, Brian living right down the road, he knows what I sound like. I think we're pretty good. I mean, I really don't feel the need to change anything. It was really more I just want to play with it and see what it does.
No, I didn't hear any other station key up in there.
Yeah, if they did, they're not there now.
Let me go in the other room real quick. Give me 1 minute. W2BTK.
Yeah, I'll be back in a second too, Billy. I'm going to run up and get a beverage myself. You made me thirsty. Whiskey 3, Oscar Hotel. Be back in a minute.
Yeah, man. I just went and began the warm-up process for the rest of this station.
In case you don't like the way it works.
W3MMR. Well, that's a good point. I'll just head up to Lowe's up in Brookhaven. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow, so maybe I'll do that and see what they have up there. I'm sure they have the same thing or something similar. I can look it up actually on my phone before I go. Yeah, because I don't know if I need all that. You're right. 64 ounces is kind of a lot. Maybe if I was doing the whole house, or a house like your size, not my little bungalow, my little shanty, you know. So what, you going to do shoulder tomorrow?
Yeah, I gotta be there tomorrow, so I'll do that in the mornings. And, yeah, I enjoy doing that. You know, actually, I don't have to be there as long.
Excuse me.
Because it used to be 3 of us. We all came in the same time. Well, now, one of the women...
I'm going to be listening to 2 QSOs at once. I'm transmitting on 3875. And we're listening to 3880. I have it just on the edge of my pass band, so you can hear those guys. Well, Dave's out getting his beverage. Yeah.
A few of the other things in there, and that's it. So actually, it's easier.
Oscar Hotel. I am back. Billy didn't take me long to... I don't normally drink wine, but I mean, I do drink wine, but it's not usually my first choice. So when I have it, I usually have to have it with my wife. Like, just Pinot Grigio. She's not a big red wine drinker. I'm more of a red wine drinker, but when you're out in beer or not in the mood for beer, you can't be picky, I guess.
Yeah, I used to drink a lot of beer, but not so much these days. I kind of like switched to wine. I don't know what it is. I always hated wine growing up, and then just recently I kind of developed a taste for it. I like it. It's a little bit different. I feel like it's more relaxing to drink wine, you know, like I start drinking beer and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I get all amped up. And then I sit down and have a glass of wine. I really chill out. Oh, Bob's making meatloaf, dinner rolls, corn, and some fries. Damn. I had reheated pad thai, which is not bad, but damn, puts me to shame.
I've done really good for the last couple of days, keeping my exercise, mountain biking, and eating well. And then today, my wife and son came home with 5 guys, and I just couldn't help myself. But it wasn't meatloaf, but it was a big old double bacon cheeseburger with mushrooms and onions, and I love those 5 Guys French fries. That and the milkshake. Milkshake is good too.
Man, 5 Guys. I love 5 Guys burgers. They're so good. They had one by, you know, when I was living with my parents, there was one nearby, but ever since I got my own place, there's really not one around here. There was a smash burger over there too, which is, you know, it's up there with 5 Guys. I don't think it's quite as good, but it's really good too. Like, you can't eat 5 Guys like every time you want a burger, so I'd go between those, and those were both right in the next town over, so I kind of miss that, but it's not bad. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and there's actually some good food. If I drive down the mountain and go about a mile, there's a really good pizza place, and they have burgers. And believe it or not, like they're really good burgers. Like, they're on par with 5 Guys. It's totally different, but nice and juicy. You know, they're great burgers. So when I want a burger, I'll just go there. But I do miss 5 Guys, man. Those French fries, and it's just the whole experience, you know. You chow on peanuts while you're waiting, while they're making it, and, you know, you can't beat that. But, yeah, nobody's going to 5 Guys right now. It's kind of silly, you know, like everybody's was all amped up about this coronavirus stuff, and everything's shut down, but it seems like nobody cares now. Like, they're all really gung-ho and backing these people that are clumping together out there and protesting, and not like a single person has mentioned like, hey, aren't we in a supposed pandemic? Like, they're all for it, but you know, if you try to go get your hair cut, people are going to call you a scumbag. It really doesn't make any sense. I think that I don't even want to get into it.
They're not fucking protesting, man. It's Billy, was that a braking station?
Yeah, sorry, W2 I meant to say that, but yeah, man, they're not protesting, man. This is like Cortham. I mean, they're just out there freaking throwing bricks through windows and stealing crap, and I don't know, man, getting their pants caught because they're wearing them down to their knees.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into it.
Yeah, I agree, man.
For a second,
but it's freaking crap.
Propane.
It really is.
Here, my propane tank for the pool heater started leaking yesterday morning. I woke up and the whole backyard smelled like propane. So, and I lost all my propane. So I got to go out there and see what's going on. I'll probably be back in like 5 to 10 minutes. And Billy, I've never heard of the other hamburger chain, but I hear you, man. It was too good to not have it while I was sitting here on the counter. But give me 10 minutes, guys. I'll be right back. Whiskey 3, Oscar Hotel.
That's scary. Propane. At least it was outside. Yeah, I had some appliance troubles too, man. My washing machine broke, but I fixed it last night. Let me go in the other room. I think my hot dogs are done. Let me go see if they're warmed up. W2BTK.
But when they started trying to escape,
Hot dogs, hot dogs. Wow, my reflect has gone up again. That might be worth... It didn't really go up. But it's not like super low. Nah, we could live with that, I guess. W2BTK. Ooh, that was nice. KK. BBTT. Yeah, that K sound is good.
AB3WFV. Sorry about that, Billy. A phone call. Work-related phone call.
It's all good, Brian. I figured something happened. Man, when I make a K sound, it really modulates this thing. 5, but not as much as 5. That's crazy.
It sounds pretty good. You seem a little heavy on the bottom end, or in the mids a touch there, Billy, but maybe that's what you're wanting to do. Or maybe you're just spread out wider than this receiver will handle. I'm listening to 9K now. It just seems cabinet. Making the rotors woof.
Man, you are all but getting taken out by a splash from, what is that, 85?
Okie doke.
Hang on, I'm adjusting my receiver. I was listening kind of wide, but I can't do that anymore. So let me tighten it up. The frequency's in use. There we go, Brian. Now, what were you saying?
I was saying, let's try to do unless this receiver just won't pick up the spectrum. You seem heavier in the lower end. The bass is more pronounced than other frequencies, to me anyways, Billy, but maybe that's what you're wanting to do.
I don't know, I haven't changed anything. Like, literally, I haven't changed a dang thing, but I don't know. It could be. It seems like it's modulating pretty evenly. Hello, hello. Actually, no, I do see my low end creeping way up there. Hello. Yeah, I wonder why that is.
Yeah, I noticed it when you first moved to the living room, the relaxed operating position. And I figured it was just you working everything out there, but this evening you're nice and quiet in here, and I have you on the big speakers. Let me make sure I don't do something stupid like roll an EQ off one way. One moment. Because I do that sometimes. You know what, Billy? Don't mess with it. I had the EQ rolled over trying to tailor the receive, so now I centered everything up.
Oh, that is the worst idea when people stick an EQ on their receive. Unless you're using it to flatten the frequency response of your monitors. It's just a bad idea in general. I just let it rip and get used to the way it sounds, so I have a relative, reference. It just stays the same all the time. So if something changes, I can hear it.
No, I pull line level audio off the receiver and feed it into one of the channels on the mixer, and then use one of the auxiliary sends out to the amplifier for the big speakers. And every now and then, like when the static crashes get real bad, we can roll the highs down and just to change the tonal fatigue, if you will. If I'm making any sense, we'll just use the a 12K centered adjustment and the 80K centered adjustment on the EQ. And not on the EQ, but on the mixer. And we'll just roll that one way or the other to deal with atmospheric conditions. And surprisingly enough, Billy, will actually make, especially weak DX stations, if you can tweak it one way or the other, it brings enough clarity to it, cutting down the real high, you know what I mean, the stuff that fatigues you. And I must have done that the other night and didn't reset it. Normally I zero it back out when I'm done.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that, but to each his own. I know people who do that, and it's just not for me.
Yep, I hear you. Hello, Perry.
Yeah, hi, Brian. Hello, Billy.
What's up, W2BTK?
And hello to Bob, if that's Bob in there.
Yep, it's Bob. W2BTK, Cornwall, Hudson, New York.
Your audio's breaking up a bit, Bob, but anyway, good evening.
Yeah, it's the, let's dial it back a little bit. It's the Internet of Things. I gotta get some more chokes for these Ethernet cables here, and we'll get her done.
Yeah, it was better that time.
Yeah, I cut the power back from the exciter about, I don't know, 10 watts or whatever. So, anyway, yeah, it's about 50 watts carry now. So, all good.
So what's going on, Perry?
Nothing. You know, just working. Hold on a second. Yeah, you know, just working. We've been real busy, which has been nice. We're just on 85 mode. And was I causing you guys any issues up there?
I heard your buckshot, but probably only because I was listening 9 KCs wide.
Yeah, same here. I was listening a little wide, and you were ripping Brian up. I couldn't even hear him. But then, you know, I just pulled that sideband in, and it was fine.
Yeah, my bad. I narrowed up like right at the end. I actually came down to see who was down here because I knew we were like, old man was going to be leaving in a minute. I thought that's what I heard you say, like you were narrowing up. So I narrowed up there towards the end. So my B.
Yeah, usually in this time of the evening, I just leave the 9K in, and then as it gets a little later, we knock it back to 6K. And usually we're down on 73, so it's no big deal. It is what it is. It's ham radio. I got a nasty grin from somebody the other day up on 20 meters saying that I was wider than the expected 2.8. Oh well.
It's like literally impossible to be 2.8 KC wide on AM. You would have to be running 1.4 KC of audio bandwidth. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even... It would sound like that. Like, there'd be zero intelligibility. I can't believe people can, like, pass the general exam or even the extra and just completely not understand how a mode like AM works. The minimum that you're going to be, even if you ran 2.8K of audio bandwidth, do that times 2. That's going to be your occupied bandwidth. And it's like, jeez.
Well, this was sideband, and what tickled me about it is that he had an Elecraft K3 or something, and I'm thinking to myself, he sent me pictures and everything, and it's 60 dB down, which is, well, the only regulation that's supposed to be followed. And I'm thinking to myself, man, that K3 doesn't have any filtering in it to be able to knock back what little bit of splash it had. Whatever. I'll tone it down even more next time. I'll go on 20 meters.
Something like this. CQ.
Actually, I really enjoy sideband. I just wish I got on it more often.
Oh, I've been having a blast here the last couple of weeks in the evenings, Perry, and point the beam west and just calling a CQ, and I'm not doing 5-9 thanks, see you later. Carrying on with the contacts for a little bit, and ended up talking to a VK station at 7:30 at night, you know? That guy was funny as hell. You know, 9,000 mile contact across the United States over into Australia.
Yeah, man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I used to, do a lot of the DXing and stuff on sideband, and then got into the FT8, and then obviously a lot of AM. So, but I've been getting on in the mornings with the old man on 3872 here in the mornings, and then and I've been sleeping in. I haven't been getting up at 5 o'clock anymore and getting on AM. Nobody's been getting on, so I've not been getting up just to stare at my radio for an hour and a half before, you know what I mean? So I'm getting up like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and it's been definitely making the work days go by easier.
Yeah, well, you meet so many fascinating people all over the place, and
No.
the last guy I talked to was in his driveway. He set a temporary antenna up and was running a 7300 on a battery that he was setting up to go, getting ready for field day. He was going to go join a friend of his some distance away whose mother is I don't know, I guess medically disabled or something, and the guy can't leave the house. So he's going to go to this guy's driveway and set this portable station up and work field day. But anyways, we were chatting, and I heard a bull in the background. And he said, "Oh, sorry about that. The buffalo this time of evening come up to the fence, which is about 20 feet from me." I'm thinking, holy crap, buffalo. He says, "Oh yeah, there's what do you say, 10 or 12 head of buffalo in this 98-acre parcel that he has buffalo that he just keeps for pleasure. He doesn't sell them. He just raises them and keeps them around because he thinks they're kind of neat." But I had no idea that this buffalo,
Hi, Clark.
standing still, he can jump 18 feet forward. And he shared with me something that I'll have to remember if I ever run into a buffalo. He says, you know when they're pissed off, when their tails curl up behind them like Porky Pig.
Well, that's handy.
So if you ever come across a buffalo, Clark, with their tails curled up like Porky Pig, run.
Now, have you ever come across well, here's more advice for you. If you ever come across an elephant who's shaking his head back and forth, same thing.
Why? What does that mean?
Means that you just said something to really tick it off, and you're about to become elephant trample.
Yeah, they trample stuff for fun. Like, they get bored and, like, do that.
Well, there you go. If you come across a bored elephant shaking his head back and forth and he's looking at you, you'll become a BTK silver dollar.
You ever see the videos of, like, the elephants painting pictures and stuff? Like, they taught the elephants to do that, and they'll go, like, play piano for the elephants, and they'll dance. They're pretty interesting creatures, W2BTK.
They're pretty smart, too, from what I understood.
How many elephants do you know with an extra class license?
I'm sure there's one out there somewhere. Several hams could be mistaken for being an elephant.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Hello, Clark.
Hey.
What was that? There was some show on one of them channels on cable there. These people weighing 5, 6, 7, 800, 1,000 pounds. They're having to cut windows out to get them out of the house and take them to the hospital. My God.
Yeah, my 600-pound life.
You have a 600-pound wife?
I don't know. I couldn't not live like that.
Yeah, no, Clark, no 600-pound wife here. Yeah, Brian, My 600-Pound Life is the name of the show. My ex and I used to watch it all the time. It was, oh my God, the problems and the health problems these people have from being that overweight it's immense.
Oh yeah, and their grocery bills. Holy cow!
It takes a lot of effort to maintain that weight.
Man, he's just incredible. But I guess some of it's medical. What is it? There's a thyroid condition that causes some of it.
Well, that's not universal. I mean, yeah, there's that. That's one of the many reasons for it. I had well, he wasn't my boss. He was sort of like, he was in charge of programming at the radio stations for a while. And this guy, Eddie, weighed a quarter ton. That's right, a quarter ton. And he explained that it all started when he was very young because his parents, or his mom in particular, every time he said anything, would stuff food in his mouth to keep him quiet. Apparently he was a talkative kid.
Conditioned.
Is that like that one scam jam call where they were trying to get the guy's credit card information, but he was feeding his kid in the background?
There were so many. It could have been.
Hey, Clark, what are you drinking?
Nothing.
Oh, well, maybe we should change the topic.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get dehydrated. I should go get something.
Processor?
Yes.
Sounds pretty good. Not your usual boldness, but it sounds good.
Here we go. All right, well, stuff can change. You never know.
Sounds a little distorted to me.
All right. I got to plug in the headphone amp. One moment, please.
I think that's banned, Perry, because when he first came in, he was distorted, and then the band cleaned it up, and then it went away, so I think it's banned.
I don't know. I've been hearing it the whole time. I just wasn't going to say anything. But we'll keep on. We'll keep on listening. Could be.
All right. So, got headphones on. Oh, you know what that is? Hold on a second. Yeah, because I left... There. Is that any better? That should be a broader bandwidth. I was on narrow bandwidth. I forgot I was testing the testing the Tighten Things Up mode last time I was on.
Yeah, that brought it up. I don't know if Perry's still hearing the distortion, but yeah. Now it's back to what I normally... It's definitely, but not bad. It's what the hell am I trying to say? Now it's how I normally expect to hear you.
I think it sounds okay. That's better. As far as, low end boldness. But I still hear it's rough around the edges. There's no doubt about that. It's not as clean. But it does not sound bad by any stretch. It's almost like the other night. It sounds like when Billy was telling you to switch microphones.
Yeah, this is the mic he doesn't like. All right, well, I don't want you guys to start calling me George, so don't worry about the audio reports. N1BCG, because it's now that.
Yeah, W2BTK. But Clark, okay, so we're all used to the way that sounds. Switch to the other one, just so everybody can hear it.
Right now it sounds like you have a scratchy throat, sore throat, or you're losing your voice.
You sound fine, Clark. Just use the other one for reference.
Considering it's Tuesday night, I do have a sore throat
It's your Tuesday night sound.
Exactly.
That's probably why it didn't sound unfamiliar to me. You got some PR on QRZ today.
What happened?
You didn't see N2DTS's post?
I did. Oh, you mean in amplitude modulation? Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you had intended that or not.
I did not know that he was going to do that, which is fine that he did that. But I find it interesting that Bruce K7DYY used the 2167 chip in his audio processor, because we use the 2166. But there is all kinds of stuff that you need to keep in mind, and that may not have been that may have been glossed over. So I was going to respond to it, and I thought, you know what, this is just going to open up a can of worms. I'm letting this go. And besides, I now have a 99.7%, how about that, 99.7% post to likes ratio on QRZ. I don't want to monkey with that.
Man. Yeah, you guys actually post there. It's an okay forum, but I've been told by the moderator of that forum that I am not welcome there in the amplitude modulation section on the QRZ forums. So if you guys could clue me into what you're talking about, that would be cool.
Yeah, but you can read it.
I don't go there, out of courtesy for him, because he really made it clear that, I suck, I'm not welcome there, so I don't even read this stuff. But I'm kind of interested, so can you please tell me what you're talking about?
All right, fine. Find a brick in a storefront. In the meantime, I will tell you. Yes, Brett had, N2DTS had posted that he's getting a K7 DYY processor, and he was going to try it out, and he was just getting opinions. And he said, well, I also have a Max board here I'm going to be trying out. And that's about it. But he didn't elaborate, so it's all kind of under the radar.
Wait, K7 DYY processor? I didn't know they made processors. I thought they were just Class D transmitters. You mean transmitter, or are you literally a K7 DYY processor?
Yeah, both. Bruce K7 DYY makes a processor which is designed for D104s. So he said, yeah, you can even mount this in the base of a D104. But that's it. And it's not a processor for everything. It's so you can use a D104 with one of his transmitters.
Oh, and he's going to use your Max board with it. Well, uh-oh.
Why?
I don't know. You might want to take it away from him.
Why? Where's the concern?
In my head.
No, I'm serious. What are you concerned about the Max processor with the K7 DYY D transmitter, or with D104s?
No, I'm just saying, like, Brett's gonna mess around with it, and I like, you better proof that thing out. All
right, I got a new Ranger coming to the house. Come out. The new Ranger coming to the house tomorrow. W2 and 1.
KC2, CWM, just a listening.
Is this Ranger a Viking Ranger?
Oh yeah, Johnson, Viking Ranger with push to talk.
Nice. Is it the original one or Ranger 2?
No, it's the original, man. I got no problem with the design of the Ranger 2, but I just don't like the look. And I like the look of the old, the original Ranger and Valiant and stuff like that.
W2GOR. Good evening, GOR. Yeah, the twos, the Valiant 2 and the Ranger 2, very 60s looking, huh? I used my first phone rig was the original Ranger. It did not have it did not have PTT, and it did not have the additional tubes on that deck behind the meter. But it's a good rig. You'll have a lot of fun with it. But it sounds like you already know about it.
Yeah, so this Ranger's going to go in the slot, man. I'm going to recap it quick before I put it in, and it'll be in there forever. And that means the Ranger that I have in there now and the 4 other Rangers are going to go in the queue for recapping.
Hey, Gordy.
Hey, I just turned the dial by mistake for a second. Now, who's that?
This is W2BTK on Montana Mountain.
W2BTK. Good to hear you there, and hello to everybody else. I'm just using a little hand mic here. That's W2BTK, right?
You got me.
That's Bill, right?
Yes, sir. That's a hand mic?
Yeah, I tried my best to EQ it the best I could. So I'm just using an Anon 7000 with my Flex 6700 hand mic. And just trying to make it sound like it's not a hand mic.
You've done it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, man. Cool. You guys sound fantastic here. I'm rewiring the recording studio here, which is a hairy thing to do. All these DB25 connectors, and I'm going out of my mind, so you guys are keeping me company in the shack here while I wire up.
Oh, yeah, the DB25 fan out. I have one of those. I had to buy it. I had a Tascam DA88, and I had to buy one of those. But yeah, I don't know why they did that. Well, I guess to save space, right?
I guess so. It's pretty crappy. I mean, I've broken a lot of pins and stuff like that. Shall I leave the audio EQ like this at the level? Is this okay? I'm not really monitoring myself. I just plugged the mic in.
You sound like you're on I don't know, any brand X studio mic, man. If I didn't know and you told me it was a hand mic, I'd say you were full of crap.
Well, I've been a recording engineer 42 years, so I better be able to do this, or else I'm not worth anything. But thank you, that's good. Well, it's just a condenser electret element there. All right, well, you're amazing here, man. 40 over 9 and great audio. Everybody sounds like a broadcast station. We'll be listening while we get back on my knees and make sure no pins broke on my DB25 cables. I'm wiring up a recording console, which is after the schematic of the Beatles' red console from 1965, and mixing it with germanium transistor console together for a nice blend. So that's what we're doing here. So you guys sound fantastic. We'll be listening. W2, good old radio. Nice to hear everybody.
All right. Yeah, that sounds badass. I thought you were going to say you got like a Neve console or something, but that might even be better.
Well, I do have a Neve. It's the newer Neve by Rupert Neve. He has to call it Rupert Neve Designs because he sold the other one to, I think, AMS or something. So it is actually modeled after the Neve a little bit, But it's the best of tubes and transistors and everything combined. And then I passively mix them into this fulcrum, sounds like something HLR would say, a fulcrum, fulcrum passive summing mixer. Then I have to bring it up 40 dB with George Massenburg Labs GML solid state stereo mic pre, and that brings it right back up to +4.
Dude, you're making me jealous. You have GML stuff, man. I went to Berklee College of Music, and I would like drool over all that crap, you know, when I was there, a broke college student. You've got toys. That's cool.
Oh yeah, well, it's for work. You know, some of these clients, they actually ask for this stuff, you know. But, you know, if the song is great and you know what you're doing, you can make almost anything sound good. It's just that extra 10 or 15%. So she said.
Fine business.
Well, nice to talk to somebody who gets it. All right, my friend, we will talk later. We'll be listening. W2, good old radio, and hope you guys have a nice, entertaining conversation and relatively clean.
Hey, you want to hear a funny story real quick before you go, and it won't keep it clean? George Massenburg used to come to Berklee once a year, and he'd come into the music production engineering studios, and he would, like, you know, mess around and send kids around, and like he'd be like, all right, what microphone do you want to use? And the kids would say some like real a Neumann 40 or something. I don't know, like some expensive mic, and he's like, it's crap. Go get me 257s. And he would like make them sound awesome and be like, why are you running that microphone cable over there? But then he'd be like real nice to other people. Anyway, he brought these Grace audio preamps, and he was like plugging them in, and everyone was like, well, why don't you use the SSL? And he just like stopped what he was doing and put down the cable and like looked the kid right in the eye, and he was like, using an SSL is like getting a blowjob in reverse. And then he started hooking up his Grace audio stuff again.
Well, somebody was asking me that today at the audio dealer. He was saying, do you like SSL? I'll sell you an SSL module. And I said, no, it's not really my sound. That's a very Bob Clearmountain 1980s sound, like, you know, some of the Springsteen stuff back in the 80s. It's a very kind of a vanilla console, you know, and not a lot of bottom end like the Neves or anything. But then the airport gear, you can cram a lot of that in there. But Emerald Class A, and I didn't even know what Class A was 5 years ago, so believe it or not, so I'm still learning here. But now I've got a lot of headroom and a lot of harmonics with transformers. You guys are all into that. You know, you guys have amazing sound. I don't know how many people on here are still modulating big tubes, like HLR and Chuck and those guys that got me into this in the 60s, early 70s. They were all using, you know, tubes, modulating tubes, right?
Well, I've got a plate modulated exciter. I'm using a Viking 2 externally modulated. I've actually got a Crown Audio, it's like a Comtech 800 solid state that I'm modulating this Viking 2 with, but that goes into a linear. So, you know, I've just got a big final running an amplifier service. But I have a pair of 810s that I'm building up, push-pull 810s. Don't quite have that ready to go yet, though.
Wow. Yeah, I went to the VNI's house, WA2VNI. I don't know if you remember him, Mike, one of my best friends. He hadn't been on the radio for 25 years, I think. And he came over here and used it and the guy almost fell on the floor. He said, this is crazy. Do you know how big this stuff had to be? Alligator clips and 3,000 volts and all that stuff. All right, I'm hogging it here. Let me let you guys talk. Bill, good to hear you again. Take care, buddy.
All right, Gordon.
All right, 7-3.
Hey, I'm out here too, fellers. Whiskey 2, Echo, November, Yankee. I see what the Rangers yield today and pick it up tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning. Come out.
Nice. Looking forward to hearing it on the air.
Yeah, it's got push to talk. The seller says that it and he's WB2 NPR is the seller. He's in Hyde Park. It's about, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. He alleges the push to talk jack is through the CW jack in the back. They've also converted over to some kind of wacky quarter-inch thing for Mike with. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with the mic connector, but anyway, we'll figure it out, and I'm good with it. It's clean inside, nothing outside, and $501. I'm good with it.
A cool cat rig for sure.
Hell yeah, and anyway, I got dinner call before I get yelled at again, like last night. Catch you cool cats later on. This is W2BTK, Whiskey 2 Echo, November Yankee, and you're not.
Catch you later. W3MMR.
Hey Clark, we've got a technician in the chat who's interested in upgrading to General. That's KD2SQV, who found me on Twitch, and he's watching now. So I'm giving him the spiel, man. I'm trying to get him on 75 meters. Clark, here you go. We've got a captive audience. Why don't you introduce yourself to this guy? He's listening via Twitch. Technician, he got licensed in 2019. And, well, there you go. So, over to you, Clark. N1BCG, W2BTK.
I think you should keep a list of ops you've inspired to either get their license or upgrade.
Well, I want to inspire him right now, so why don't you let him know what this is all about?
I don't think there's anything I can add to it. I think that just by checking out your channel, he's getting a very good idea as to what's going on.
Well, yeah, amplitude modulation. It's he says, is it feasible to operate 75 meter in an apartment complex? Can't really run antennas. Well, I'll talk about that for a second. I know a guy, my friend Tommy, who runs an attic antenna, and he was out here the other day. We were talking to him, and he had a pretty decent signal. So you can do it. It's a lot harder in that kind of a situation, but then there's also, you can remote into stuff, and you know, there's tons of remote things that you can use, so it would still be worth it, in my opinion, to upgrade.
Oh, absolutely. I'd upgrade in a heartbeat. Because even if you put well, I don't know, pin something up along the ceiling, or a vertical off the railing outside there, even with digital modes, you can make contacts all over the world with it. You know, FT8 will pull out weak signals all over the place. So, remoting is phenomenal nowadays. So, a friend, a brother, sister, a relative, somebody you know that will let you string an antenna up in a tree somewhere and use their shed for a transmitter and some power and some internet connection, and there you go, you're on the air.
Yeah, I know guys in apartments, they use smaller antennas that work okay, like magnetic loop antennas, and they make worldwide contacts on FT8. So, out of apartments, so an antenna like that, granted, it would probably be hard to get out and use it on AM and talk to us. You could still, from your apartment, set up a magnetic loop antenna and literally talk all over the world with digital modes like FT8, and I know people that do it.
Yeah, or you clamp a screwdriver antenna to the railing, or even better yet, go get ham sticks. The MFJ ham sticks, and what are they? $10-$20 a piece, and you can get 20 meters, 40 meters, whatever, and an antenna mount that can clamp on the railing there, and maybe run a couple wires out for a counterpoise and screw a rig into it and talk away. They're low profile, lightweight. There's all kinds of different ways of doing it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Getting in general opens a lot of doors. Even if you're in an apartment, you can still do stuff. And in my opinion, it's more fun than talking on repeaters. Not that that's a bad thing, but I got licensed. I was a tech for 10 years, and I talked on the repeater a few times and was like, okay, and I went back to CB. Didn't start seriously doing anything until I got the general. Made those first few contacts, worldwide contacts, and then I discovered all you guys talking on AM, and that was that, man.
Yay. Whiskey 3, Oscar Hotel. I'm back. No propane leak anymore.
Oh, I didn't hear any giant boom, so I guess everything's okay.
What, a ham without a gas leak? How can that be?
You fixed it that quick.
Yeah, apparently the regulator was leaking, and I lost 40% of my propane, so my wife's upstairs arguing with the company now.
Yeah, it's a hell of a way to increase sales.
Yeah, I'll tell you. At first he's like, I don't see anything leaking. I said, you might want to put some more of that bubble spray on there. Sure enough, he found it.
Liquid dishwashing soap, Dave, like Dawn. You just rub that all over those lines and fittings and stuff. It'll bubble up.
Yeah, he was using, I think, the special stuff, special soap. What is that? I've seen it before. Blue. I don't know. They got a name on it. I see the HVAC guys using it all the time. But yeah, I've done the same thing, Brian, with air compressors. Looking for that leak. Dawn soap and a little bit of water in a spray bottle. Anyways, yeah, I'm back. We woke up the other morning and the whole backyard smelled like propane. It's just the propane tank for the pool heater. And I had to run down there and turn it off and probably call them over here to figure out what the heck was going on. Anyways, I was just wanting to announce I was back. I was in here talking to Billy earlier, and I got back to the desk here, and I must admit I got a little hooked on reading the stupid manual on this compressor thing.
You'll figure it out.
Which it's the 2-channel compressor limiter gate you're messing with, right?
Yeah, it's actually a 4. This one's, they're both 4-channel. So this one's just an MDX 4600 XL, I think it's called.
You know, I think I've used one of those before. A buddy of mine who had like a cover band, he had, you know, they've got their own little PA setup, and they bought one of those on my recommendation to, you know, get a gate on each channel, which is useful when you're mixing a band. Not so much, I don't think, on AM. I think it sounds weird on AM, but anyway, it worked really well. But for the most part, like when they jam that much crap into one unit, like 4 channels, and it does like 3 different things, they start to cut corners a little bit. But that thing, I mean, if you ran one channel into another, you could do like, you could use channel 1 and grab like a little bit of compression, run out to your EQ it, and I'm talking about real light compression before the EQ, just to catch transients and crap. EQ it, then run it back into another channel on that thing, and use, instead of the compressor, use the limiter in that channel, and that would be like badass. And then, you know, the other 2 channels would just float there. But doing something like that could be like super useful, I think.
Yeah, it'll be, like I said, it was up the street, it was cheap, I just picked it up to play with it. And Billy, interestingly, I did see a video on this gate. The other thing that came in this box was the gate. And it is a 4-channel gate, and that's exactly what the guy was talking about that he did in order to get a I'm going to say this wrong. It was he could process it the first time so that the gate kicked in kind of slowly, and then he ran it through the other channel, the other gate, where once it was once it kicked in, he could hold it longer and then release it again, or something like that. He used the same box to do it better than... Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Never mind.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You use the first channel very, very lightly, then you go into another processing unit, come out of that and go into the second channel on that thing and get a little more aggressive with it before you feed the transmitter. That's awesome. I mean, you could repeat that process as many times as you want. I don't think it would do much good after that, but yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's all new terminology for me, so trying to spit it out was not working. Anyway, I heard some new people in there, Clark, and I don't know who else was in there. Somebody else was in there. I saw Brian was back. I just assumed he had gotten home from driving in the car.
Yeah, I got a phone call on the way home, Dave. That's why I disappeared earlier there. Now we are here. You basically look at that 4-channel unit as 4 individual processors. You can come out of one, go into the other, come out of that one, go into the other, come out of that one, go into the other, and then come out of it to your final, wherever you want to go. So that's how you kind of look at it. And like Billy was saying, you're linking one as a compressor into another as a limiter, and then into the transmitter and so on.
Yeah, the word I was looking for, I was stumbling on, was attack. I guess the guy was using the 2 channels to attack softly initially, attack harder, and then release softer through the 2 different channels, I guess, to do it.
Yeah, audio processing. Dude, it's fun to play with. I mean, that's what I wanted to do for a living. I went to college for it. I worked as a live sound engineer for like 10 years, and I love it. It's the best.
Yeah, I got a friend who I don't know, he didn't go to school for it, but I know he is an audio engineer. He worked over at MCI and a couple other places. I've seen some pictures where he's standing in front of a mixer board that, looks like it's probably 8 foot long and 5 foot deep, and so many buttons and dials on it. You're just like, whoa. Yeah, I want to know how to use that thing.
Well, it's 8 foot long and 5 foot deep, and it's got a million knobs on it, but don't think of it as a million knobs. You look at one channel of that board, right? It's got usually a gain at the top, some routing, an EQ, maybe some dynamics processing or whatever, all your sends, the different outputs, and then a fader, right? And that's what's there. Times 48 or times 24. Every single channel is just the same thing. So if you look at just one channel of that and familiarize yourself with what's going on there, what you have, you look at the board and it's really not that much stuff. It's just a repeat of the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So it looks a lot less daunting when you start thinking of it like that. W2BTK.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's all just the different channels. Yeah, completely makes sense. It's got to be pretty cool to mess with that. I was reading earlier how, I guess, guys back in the day when they were recording, they would do all this stuff by hand with faders as opposed to having compressors and limiters. They just did it by, kind of like an art, did it by sound and experience, I guess. Supposedly some of the better sound producers are doing that today, I guess, according to this article.
Well, having good ears is the prerequisite for using that kind of stuff. And the more you listen to stuff and the more you play with it, the better ears get. You're not born with good ears. A person who can hear really well isn't just going to be good at mixing. You have to understand the relationships. You have to be able to hear a tone and know what frequency it is. Like if you're mixing monitors for a band, for instance, and you get feedback, you got to be able to jump right on top of it. You hear like, whoop, oh, okay, that's 1.5K. You pull it out of the graph, the feedback goes away. And you get like a second to do that before the audience notices. And that's how you get good, but just listening to stuff and using that crap is, that's just what you got to do. Nobody's born with that talent.
Huh?
What?
Yeah, if I went back to school, I think I'd have to go back to school for sound engineering. That would be pretty cool.
Maybe, but take it from me, I went to school for that, and everything I learned there is obsolete now. It's all changed. They taught us, Pro Tools systems and this and that, and none of it's the same anymore. But you build a little schema of what's going on, and you can adapt to, like, anything. You say, oh, they call it, like, super digi nonsense, like, oh yeah, get out the super digi nonsense plugin, and you're like, what's super digi nonsense? And they're like, oh, it's a multi-band compressor, and you're like, oh, well, I know how to use a multi-band compressor. Let me see. Oh, okay, here's the threshold, here's the release time, blah 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 blah. You jump right in, but it all changes, and you got to just get used to it. But if you have the basics, if you have a schema, you're good.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if you have the background and the kind of the skill set in understanding of how it all works, you can move from one technology to the other. You just need to relearn the nomenclature that's being used in the new technology. Probably like that. Probably like that in almost any field, really. There's always something new coming out, better and more enhanced, and everything's named different.
W2BTK, I'm going to shut up for a minute because there's a lot of people on the channel that aren't saying anything. I feel like I'm monopolizing.
I have a plate of food in front of me. That's what's monopolizing me.
But you don't have any food?
I do have a plate of food that is quickly disappearing.
I'm going to plug this compressor in and see how stupid it sounds.
Do it. I'm eating hummus, Brian. So what? Clark's gone? That's it. Perry's gone? That's it.
They didn't want to stick around and hear my new compressor.
No, they didn't. That's kind of rude.
Rude dude.
W2DTS on frequency.
Hey, what's up, Brett?
Just playing around with my K7DYY gizmo. Not really liking it. Using a compromised antenna. I better turn it down. So, what's up?
Not much, just chasing everyone off the frequency with discussions about audio processing and this and that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I kind of think less is more. Depending on what you're running, less is more. I don't like the overdone. Well, it's all a matter of taste. Guys get too, well, I guess it's, part of the interesting part of the hobby is playing around with the audio. Yeah, I guess that's one of the fun parts. Not many guys playing around with the tube stuff anymore. Few, but now it's audio and, yeah, I got that stuff you can download on your computer. Breakaway broadcast and other things that it does it all, it does it all in software. You don't need any knobs.
Well, Brett, I live my life by the saying, if it sounds good, it is good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yo, Billy, it might not be you running everybody off. It might be me. I don't know. All right, I got this thing plugged in. I don't know if it's even doing anything, really. See, that sounded like Perry came back and said, yeah, it is. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Sounds good to me.
On the flex.
You sound a little more dense. It might have brought out some of like the low and mid stuff that wasn't quite modulating as much. Like I don't know. I'd have to listen to it for a minute or A/B it or something. It sounds a little different.
Well, we don't have to. I mean, I'm not gonna play around with it that much. I was just kind of curious. Obviously there's some adjustments I can make. I just plugged it in. I was just curious. I didn't really change anything on the flex because, my level is still not hitting the red at the moment. Looks good there.
Well,
Like mixer to the processor to the flex.
Out of the mixer, Brian, I'm coming out of the insert with a stereo quarter-inch plug, goes into the compressor with the 2 mono. My understanding is one goes in and one goes back out to the mixer again, and then back to the microphone to the flex.
Well, you just plug the compressor in. What I would start with is a really, really fast attack time and maybe like 100 millisecond release, and then start tightening it up from there. And just setting the threshold so that you're not like slamming the thing, right? And then just start bringing the ratio up slowly and see what the hell it does.
I don't know why he's going out of the mixer into the compressor and back into the mixer.
Yeah, I just followed a YouTube video, Brian. That's how the guy showed how to do it. I was with you. I would have thought the sound would have gone into the compressor and then hooked the microphone up to the compressor, but it's kind of how he did it. I don't know. He might not know what he's doing, though.
If you have an EQ, stick that before the compressor.
What he has, Billy, is a 8-channel board, and the Audio-Technica 2020 mic is going to the board, and the board's going out to the flex, and all his EQ and compression and level settings are done in the flex after the outputs and everything of the board is set correctly. But if I heard him correctly just a moment ago, I'm not sure how the compressor's hooked up now. I would think it would go mic, board, compressor, limiter, and then the flex.
You said it's on an insert.
Well, you guys are well beyond my pay grade on it, so.
So you have, you got a mixing board you're using as preamp, and you have the compressors on an insert, and then that's feeding the rest of your audio processing in the flex, which isn't really that ideal, because you're doing all your EQ post-compressor and all that stuff. Typically, like, what you do is you'd run mic preamp, EQ, compressor, limiter, transmitter. But I don't know if you can. Is it an insert on your mixer, or can you actually do an insert into that flex?
No, it's the insert on the mixer board, Billy. I'd have to get an external equalizer to do it the way you laid it out. But I think I have a line on one. I think I've got one coming.
I mean, not for nothing, like, you might be better off just using the processing in the flex for now. There's, unless you just want to play with the thing, but you're not really able to get what I consider optimal signal chain there, because if you're EQing post-compressor, it's going to be a little funny. It's not really the best. So I don't know. Just play with it, have fun, like that's all.
Wow, that's the plan. And if I get an equalizer, I'll put the equalizer before the compressor or limiter, and then I can turn off the equalizer in the flex.
Yeah, but I don't know if, like, getting using that Behringer thing and buying an EQ and all that, if it would really be an upgrade. But I mean, like I said, if you want to play with that stuff, then yeah, it'd be worth it. But I don't know. I don't know if I would tell you to go out and buy a rack EQ to stick in there if you already have a flex, because this thing's have pretty good audio processing. Can't you download oh wait, no, that's just a non. Yeah, Flex. What is the EQ in that Flex? How many bands do they give you? Is it a graphic EQ?
Yeah, I only get, eight bands, 63, 125, 250, 500, 1K, 2K, 4K, and 8K. And look, Billy, I'm completely satisfied with the way I sound without anything other than the Flex. I'm just playing around. Just for the hobby, you know what I mean?
That was going to be my question. Have you identified a problem that needs solving? Because you sound fine.
I absolutely do not have any problems, correct. I actually love the way it sounds. I literally just, I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around, learning, messing around with things. You know, I'm not buying all this stuff new at high dollar price. I'm finding the stuff cheap and just playing around with it. You know what I mean? Just so I understand a little bit better how some processing works. Honestly, the Flex, the way it sounds to me, is great.
I'd agree.
Yeah, man. Play with it. See if you like it. I wouldn't go too crazy though. The Flex sounds great. And 8 bands on the Flex, if you have, from the lows up to 8K, you're never going to use anything above 8K on amateur radio. So like a 31 band graphic EQ is kind of a waste. I mean, yeah, like if you're mixing music, then it's very useful, or ringing out a PA, but as far as anything above 8K, like I don't even have, I almost have audio out to 8K, but definitely nothing beyond that.
I think you're hitting the audio a little bit hard, though.
I think it's a lot of QSB tonight.
WA1STH recliner remote.
Well, I took the, yeah, I mean, I'm hitting into the red a little bit. I just took the, compressor offline just to see if that's better.
Well, it sounds more natural, but it doesn't sound as loud. It sounded pretty good before, just as a little bit too much audio.
WA1STH recliner remote.
Hello, Steve.
Good evening to all you fellow miscreants.
Hello, Clark. I don't know who's in there testing. I didn't get the call. My call's N2DTS. Handle is Brett Bravo Romeo Echo Tango Tango. I'm located in southern New Jersey.
Hey, Brett. This is Whiskey 3 Oscar Hotel, Dave, in southern Maryland. About 8 miles away from KB3 WFV, Brian.
Give me the call again.
Whiskey 3 Oscar Hotel. Whiskey 3 O.
Oh, okay.
I'm back. W3 MMR. I just enjoyed a nice scrapple sandwich.
What happened to your audio?
Excuse me?
What's that for?
W2BTK on Montana Mountain in New Jersey.
Okay, I give up. How high is Montana Mountain?
1,050 foot where I am, but the peak is 1,200.
3 chairlifts.
I want a scrapple sandwich like Perry.
It was good. Scrapple cheese and ketchup and Tapatio hot sauce.
Was it head cheese?
American.
What you doing? Transmitting square waves or something?
That's pronounced American.
Who are you talking to, Brett? Me? Is there something wrong with my audio?
You sound like you normally do to me, Perry. I don't know. Sounds good here in southern Maryland.
Fine into New Hampshire, Perry. I think the band is not perfect this evening, but I normally hear you a little stronger, but you sound A-OK. W-A-1-S-T-H. How's my audio?
You should ask Billy, W6NY or whatever.
Yeah, he's a far superior operator than myself, so yes, you should.
He belches better than you do.
He does everything better than me, apparently.
Is being a good operator dependent upon how quick you can hit the PTT button, or is there other criteria?
You know, big fade there, Steve.
Yeah, like how well you can belch and fart.
That just makes you a ham radio operator.
No, that makes you tinny.
Who just so happens to be, you guessed it.
What?
So do you think most ham radio operators belch and fart, or do you think they're just emulating Tim?
They're just emulating the Timtron. He invented belching and farting, in my opinion.
Imitation is the greatest form. What is it, Clark? Whoops. You know what? I hit the wrong button, sorry.
Yes, Clark. I started emulating Tim at the tender age of about 12. W2JBL.
I heard you out there, Shane. Good evening. And good evening, Chris.
Howdy. Hi, Chris.
Chris, what's new and exciting in your world?
I'm not driving my unmarked police cars anywhere for a few days.
Why, what'd you do?
Well, there's civil unrest around here, and I remember back in, what was that, in the 90s, I worked in a tough town called New Rochelle, New York. It was like kind of annexed as part of the Bronx. And during the Rodney King riots, I was driving my unmarked police cars, back then, different cars, you know, blah, blah, blah. The spotlights and antennas and all that stuff, and homie was throwing stuff at me.
Well, no, I would say that sucks big time.
Yeah, so fearing a repeat of that, I think I'm going to park them for a little while until things settle down. I'll drive my Jeep. Like Clark, Mr. Middle America in the SUV.
That would make it a 2004 Jeep.
Clark, what is it you drive?
Who was that directed at, Steve?
Well, initially I would think I was asking you, but then I thought, well, you know, we might as well get it from the horse's mouth. Mr. Clark is in there, I believe.
Sorry, Steve, I missed it. I was talking while you were also, and so I didn't hear a word you said.
Oops.
Talking about what do you drive? What is your main vehicle? You must have multiples.
I do. A 2003 Ford Taurus and a 2004 Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Now that is conservative.
Do you like that? Late model, ritzy kind of vehicles?
Yeah, it changes my whole perception of you.
Bet you get a lot of women with that Taurus.
You know, they have complained about the Taurus. All of them have bitched about it. And I like to point out to them that it has a smoother ride, has a better radio, it's more gas economical, and it's actually just better in many ways than the Taurus. I mean, than the Jeep. And they still like the Jeep better.
Clark, is that like an older Taurus, or is it one of the newer Tauruses? Because those new Tauruses are like really sharp, man.
Well, it's an 03. It's not. The Ford started in, 86 with the Taurus, which was great. Cutting edge, revolutionary, low drag coefficient, everything. Pretty good design. I thought it looked good for the time. And then they screwed it all up because you can't, like ham radio operators, once you got something working fine, let's screw it up just for fun. And that's what Ford did. And then they started with like they got rid of the asymmetry, or they got rid of the symmetry with the design and everything, and they started going with like that bubble look, and then the sales plummeted, and that's right about the time that I had to get a new Taurus, and I said, well, I gotta make the old one last, because look at this bull crap they're selling. And then finally in 2000, someone at Ford got their act together, and they said, we need to go back to doing something that looks more like an updated original design, and then they look pretty sharp. So I let 3 years go by for them to get, the bugs worked out, and got an 03.
Yeah, I've had that style. I just took a look at the picture to be sure what I was talking about, but I've had that style. Those are a highly rated car for longevity.
The 92 Ford Taurus SHO. That was a car.
The SH Hamburger.
It's the original Taurus. That was like the high-performance version.
Yeah, the SHOs were cool, man.
Was that a Yamaha motor in it?
I believe it was a Ford. Dude, the new Taurus shows, like, they rip. It's a twin-turbo V6. They, like, people put, they'll put a chip in there to lessen up the restrictions, maybe an exhaust and a cold air intake, and, like, they run with Corvettes. It's crazy.
I thought the SHO was a turbo, like Yamaha motor or something, when they came out.
I don't think so. I think it was the same engine that they put in the normal Taurus, but they, different cams and different high output stuff.
Well, they had the 24 valve. That wasn't an SHO. They had a 12 and a 24 valve. My wife had a 24 valve Taurus. We call it Froggy. It was green. She loved that car. It fell apart, but she loved it.
Yeah, I think it was Ford's 3.2 liter, which I think you could have gotten that. Well, I don't know. Maybe the other one was just a 3.0.
Well, let me see. The magical computer says that today it features a 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost V6, 365 horsepower. And what year were you talking about for the SHO? I could look that up on a handy-dandy Google computer. So
1992.
He's still talking.
Said Yamaha.
No, that was me.
Well, what year SHO are we talking about?
Like the older ones when it first came out. What was that, like 80? In the 80s, I guess.
$1992 was the second generation Ford Taurus.
$1992. A year I know nothing about. I don't remember anything important happening in 1992.
That's when I bought my Ford Taurus. 1992. Right out of college.
Really? I've worked on a lot of Ford Tauruses, but I've never owned one.
I have no idea why I picked that as my first car, Perry. I have no idea.
All right, college, 1992. Boy, there are some young people in here now.
Yeah, I'm looking on the web. It says 1989 Ford Taurus SHO, car and driver. It says SHO, super high output. Apt description of this Taurus's remarkable new V6 engine, designed and built by Yamaha.
Well, see, who says you don't know anything?
I just remembered hearing that, and I thought it's kind of weird to have a Yamaha engine in a Ford.
Yeah, good call, Steve. I didn't know that either.
That was Brett. Good job, Brett. I didn't know that either. That's crazy. I can see like the motor in my head. I can see what it looks like. I don't know where my phone's at, and I'm like laying back in my reclining computer chair at the moment.
2019 SHOs, 365 horsepower.
Pianos, keyboards, what the hell else do they make? Now I find out they make automobile engines.
Yep, they do it all. Say that again, Brett.
I said the 2019 Taurus SHO makes 365 horsepower. And Yamaha makes great motorcycles and motors. Very high quality stuff.
I wonder how those twin turbo motors in the new Taurus are holding up durability-wise. You know, you put two turbos on a 3.5 liter V8 and expect it to pull a 3,800-pound sled. Something's got to give.
I've already replaced probably 4 turbos on Ford EcoBoosts, all over 100,000 miles, but less, like probably right around 120,000, between 110, probably to 130, somewhere in between there.
Wow, that explains why the police agencies are auctioning them off with particularly low miles on them.
Yeah, well, you're right, Chris. Something's got to give. So, I mean, the manufacturer don't care as long as it makes it through the warranty period. You know, it's amazing those turbo motors and F-150s and, you know, and of course, you know, pickup trucks are coming through now stock with 400 horsepower. My 5.0 is 365 horsepower in my truck, so it's amazing the horsepower that you get in pickups alone today.
Oh yeah, I know. But something that's I'm a Ford guy. It's something that's irritated me about Ford for forever. Is they put a tiny. It started in '63 when they came out with the 260. They put a 260 cubic inch engine in a 4,000 pound Galaxy, you know, and stuff like that. That's my bitch with the Crown Vic. It's got a 280 cubic inch engine in a 4,000 pound car. What the hell were they thinking? But at least those things don't break. And I don't think your 5.0 is going to break either.
I guess it didn't break because it was a 4,000 pound car. It had big, strong components.
Well, no, it's the engine that they put in there, the 4.6. It's actually a good engine. It's just a little bit underpowered for a big car.
Yes, it is. I've had a number of them. It's adequate, but doesn't really give you the fun you might like, but they certainly are durable.
Oh, yeah, I have 3 of them. 2 cop cars and an FBI car. It was a Grand Marquis. I got chips and intakes and air boxes and all that crap on all of them. And, hey, you'll be surprised. Some of the aftermarket tunes are pretty good. You know, I can smoke the tires pretty good with them, but it's still, you know, like putting a 289 in a Galaxy, as you know.
I agree with you. You know, back back in the 60s, when
W2BTK
police cruiser with a 394 barrel, and they were, I think I remember they were shifts on the column. Those things screamed for what they were at the time. And then they went to the anemic 4.6.
Yeah, what a shame. W2JBL. Jesus, I had one of those motors. I had a 68 Fairlane GT that somebody did an engine swap in and had a 390 Police Interceptor out of an older application, probably earlier, mid-60s, a 390 PI single 4-barrel. Great engine. 500 foot-pounds of torque in that little Fairlane. Oh, boy.
You guys seen these, the Chevy Police Pursuit Caprices? It's made by an Australian company called Holden, and they put a 6-liter LS in the things. I think they're over 400 horsepower stock, and that's probably the most impressive, you know, sedan that I've seen lately. Like, man, I want one of those.
We have one that we service
Great car. Bring money that we can real drive. But they're expensive and hard to find. And it didn't come with the 6-liter. I've met guys that have put the 6 into that chassis. It drops right in. I think most of them came through with the 5.3. It was a flop as a police car for a lot of reasons. The parts were very expensive. It had a floor shifter, and next to the floor shifter was right next to where you had to put the console for the radios and stuff. It was just a very uncomfortable car. But, oh, God, was it fast. Wow. Well, the PDs I serviced had them. I had fun doing test drives.
You slap a Pro Charger on that, and you're out of there, man. It's nuts.
Oh, hell yeah. And it was a good car. It was well made. It did everything well. It handled and the whole nine. And it had a real set of balls on it. And if I buy another cop, those, like I said, they're hard to find. If I buy another cop car, and I will, it's not going to be a Ford. I'm going to get I'm going to get the Hemi Charger.
Man, yeah, it's probably the best that, like, I never got one, because they break, and then it's an import, man. Like you said, it's hard to get the parts and crap. They're from Australia, but I really was under the impression that those things had a 6-liter LS. I don't know where I heard that. Maybe it was, I don't know.
Yeah, the best of my knowledge, they were 5.3s, but they were fast. My God, they were fast.
They're 6.0s.
You realize, you turn something into a police car, you add about 500 pounds of extra equipment, and even all that extra crap on there. Those were fast cars, and I enjoyed them. I enjoyed working on them. And you know, the illicit test drive. The Dodge, they worked their way out of problems. They were having serious engine problems, like, you know, throwing rods and spinning bearings. They had some front suspension issues. That's all gone now. And the Charger is the best-selling cop car on the planet, and they're scary fast.
Brian says it's a 6-liter, so I maybe need to look this up.
Yeah, definitely, because I ran into a guy that said he swapped a 6-liter into it, unless he had one that had a 5.3. I wasn't aware of any other option than the 5.3, but, well, we'll find out. Look up Michigan State Police time trials.
The one that we service at the shop, Chris, has got a 6.0 in it and it rides like a brick.
Yeah, it says GM 6-liter V8 small block L77.
Well, I'm wrong. That explains a lot why they're so fast.
Yeah, they're over 400 horsepower out of the thing, and it's hard to do that with a 5.3 to make it not grenade itself.
Yeah, but they don't give the cops 400 horsepower. That's, you know, if they gave them the 6.0, I drove them. I know for a fact that's not the full Monty out of that engine in the police package. You can't give a cop too much horsepower, because there's two things cops don't know how to do. Steve will probably back me up on this. Cops can't drive and they can't shoot.
Yeah, they need better training, as, well, I guess everyone in the country can see.
Yeah, and I'm not down on law enforcement in any way. I mean, I made my living off the law enforcement industry for over 30 years, so I have a somewhat different perspective, more like from, their side. But, oh, God, I remember back in, what was it, either 1994 or 95, when the next to last version of the police package on the Chevy Caprice came out, and that was the big car like I have, and they put the LT1 in it, and the cops were wrecking them left and right.
Yes. Let me see if I got it. Yes, can't shoot. Listen, the current situation and what was viewed on TV certainly was not what should be a prime example of police work. However, those poor fellows are in situations where they have to make a lot of split-second decisions, and there's going to be bound to be some that are wrong. And it's like this current one, totally wrong, and others that I've seen on TV. There's no question about that. But for the most part, they're trying to do a service. They're not all good. They're ding-dongs and idiots in that profession like all others, and they make mistakes, and they've been making some beauties in the last 2-3 years, but it's too bad that they'll all get slammed for all of it forever. WA1STH, recliner remote.
And W2BTK, I think...
And the level of professionalism, never mind. Started working in public safety communications back in the 80s up through the early, maybe even the mid-90s. Cops were not politically correct. They were not reined in. It was a different atmosphere. There were racist cops. I knew racist cops. I knew rogue cops. All of that bad stuff was going on. But probably by the late 90s, all of that stuff got reined in, and for the next 20-odd years of my working around those people, the level of professionalism, courtesy and respect and all of that for the public, the level of professionalism was through the roof, and the bad cops were just not out there. They were gone. Most of them had retired. And then from that point on, from like 2000 on, you didn't see that kind of behavior, like that jerk did on that guy's neck. It just didn't happen. It's probably, a 0.5% of guys on the job in this country. W2JBL.
I just think it's too easy to become a cop, man. Like, they need to have more education, more training. They need to be vetted better. It's just too easy to become a cop, and you get some undesirable people that become cops or whatever. It makes them all look bad. And I don't hate cops. I think cops are great. But that's my point. It's too easy to become a cop. I think that they should go back to requiring some type of degree, make it a little more of a high-profile job, and a lot of that crap will go away. I think we'd have a lot less problems like we're having right now if they would vet these people better, ensure that they're well-educated, well-trained, and, that's it. I think it would solve problems. That's my opinion. W2BTK.
Well, today, and that's one of the reasons the level of professionalism is so much higher, is they are vetted. And they do have to have college degrees, generally something in criminal justice, stuff like that. And you don't just immediately go from pumping gas someplace in your hometown to becoming a police officer. There's a tremendous amount of screening and training applied today. It's nothing like it was in the old days. But even still, unfortunately, the occasional bad apple sneaks through.
Okay, I think I got it this time. I was going to say, for Billy, all input is good input, and nobody knows it all, and everybody has their own opinion, logical or emotional. It's irrelevant. Chris brings up some good points. A lot of times there is a serious amount of education involved to get on a job, and the other issue is that, like all professions, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're busboy or auto mechanic. There are some crazy, wild people there, and even though you try to screen, you don't necessarily always get the cream of the crop. So, hey, hopefully some of this stuff will slow down. I don't know that it's specifically a black thing. I think that it's abuse in a lot of other ways, and it takes time to sort this all out and get rid of the bad apples. So I think Chris is right. I think that over the course of the last 40, 50 years, things have changed. For better or worse, they've changed. So we'll see how it all turns out. I just don't agree right now with peaceful protesting is fine, but looting, yeah. Wrecking people's businesses, no. I don't think that's part of the program. So. Oh well, I said enough. Who cares? Everybody's got opinions. Your opinions are like a-holes. Everybody's got one. WA1STH, recliner remote.
Yeah, let's get it straight. I don't condone any of that crap. All the rioting and looting and this and that. And I know I'm doubling with somebody, but Jesus Christ, how the hell else am I going to get in here to say anything? It's very difficult. But I do not condone any of that crap. I think it's horrible. And I think they need to stop. And I think all the people doing it were all the people complaining about people not being responsible during Corona and this and crap like 2 weeks ago. And now they're all out bunching together, which makes no sense either. But that's all I'm going to say on that. W2BTK. Sorry for doubling, but, I mean, let's face it. It's the only way that you're going to get in here and get a chance to say anything.
Well, that was almost a perfect double. You both dropped at the same time. I think it was you and Chris. You won, Billy. And no, I wasn't even beginning to insinuate that anybody thinks that all of this violence is good. It's not good for anybody or anything. But anyways, all right. I think, Chris, you were saying something. That must have been you doubling with Billy. But again, Billy won from the mountain. And Chris, it's your turn. And yeah, WA1STH. Go ahead.
What? Well, I'm on the mountain. I'm at 850 feet. Oh my God, I've been strapped. No, I was just going on about, back in the late 60s. What was it, 68, 69, particularly 68. Rioting in a couple of villages right around where I grew up. Race riots and stuff. It was off the hook at that time, and this is bringing back memories of what I saw when I was a teenager, with that other crap.
Yeah, well, I live with them, so I know what it's all about. Like I said, there's good and bad, but that's just the way it is. Anyways, I'm going to shut up and just listen a little bit and probably disappear. Billy, I think Clark was in here, and there were others in here, and you guys do your thing. WA1STH.
Yeah, 73, Steve. We got to get together some night, just a one-on-one QSO, and swap stories about stupid stuff the troopers do.
Oh, I got a whole list of unbelievable things.
Yeah, they're incredible.
There's something that you guys all made a lot of great points, but there's something that got left out of that whole equation. The respect for law enforcement. An officer pulls you over for speeding. An officer tells you to come here, stand still. The officer that tells you to, hey, get out of here. We don't want you hanging around. The officer that says turn around, put your hands behind your back. The time to argue with an officer is in a court of law, not on the street when he's doing his job. And I think that stems from entire generations growing up watching the TV show Cops, where everybody ran and everybody gave the cop crap when he was trying to arrest him. Because, after all, that made good television, but that wasn't every call that the police officer went on. And I think there's an entire generation that just gives police crap because, well, that's what they were taught to do. KB3WFE with my negative 2 cents.
No, I agree, Brian.
Oh, no, I'm doubling.
Absolutely.
I've got a few more words to say. I'll let whoever's
almost
double looking at it.
engineer or what have you ingrained in kids today. But, you know, back to the 70s, I remember when I was, 18? I was 19. And I got caught drag racing on Boston Road. I got, you know, US 1. It probably goes down to you. It does. Got caught drag racing on US 1 one night. My buddy in his car, he got away. I got stopped. Frickin' cop pulls me out of the car and bitch slaps me and starts screaming at me.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, oh boo-hoo, I got over it.
Listen, everybody has an opinion. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and when a state cop pulled you over, most of the time all you could see is his belt buckle in the damn window, and you didn't open your mouth because you were too busy peeing your pants, because there was an inherent respect that went with that. But you knew that guy would be there to save your ass if you needed him to also. Today, you know, stature of the individuals has changed. Everything is turned upside down, and, you know, there is no respect, as I think Brian was trying to point out. So, I mean, they have a very, very tough job. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised in the future if it gets to the point where they can't hire anybody, because who wants to be abused by everybody, both in the news media and everywhere you go. So, not saying they're angels, not saying they do things wrong or right or whatever, but like I said, in the 60s, when that state trooper pulled you over, you were too busy peeing your pants to worry about anything else. So you certainly weren't going to open your mouth to him, because he'd drag you right through the window and slap you one.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. I got caught street racing. I pulled over. The other guy took off. Guy yanks me out of the car. He starts yelling at me, and I said, but I wasn't even running wide open. I didn't burn rubber, and that's when he smacked me.
Well, here in the state of Maryland, if you were wanting to be a state trooper, it was required that you were 6 foot tall or taller. They changed that regulation to accommodate others. I don't know if I agree or disagree with it. Some of them are very good cops. Others, well, they don't have that intimidation factor like Steve says. So, I had a 70 Chevy Nova. I'm a mechanic, so you know damn well it was probably one of the fastest cars around. I had hair down past my shoulders. I listened to rock and roll. It would make most people's ears bleed. And I can't tell you how familiar I became with every dent, scratch, nick, and bump on the rear deck of that trunk of my Nova. Because it was constantly getting pulled over, and I was constantly told to stand at the back of the car with my hands on the trunk of the car while they ran the tags and the insurance, and they figured out whether or not they were going to charge me with anything. I can tell you, I never got charged, and never, ever, ever have I had a pair of handcuffs on. But I never argued with them. I never backtalked them. I never gave them crap, because 9 times out of 10 when they pulled me over, I was doing something stupid. Whether it was spinning tires or snagging second or driving too fast or driving way too loud with the music up through a residential neighborhood or something stupid. So, I agree that, I mean, we call these guys. That's the only time they're ever called. We're calling them, people call them, because we don't want to deal with whatever crap it is that's going on. We want somebody else to come deal with it. So they come running, and they deal with it. And then when we don't like the way they dealt with it, we throw a fit. For domestic violence, where a battered woman calls up, they show up, they go to arrest the person that beat the snot out of her, and she turns on the cops. I mean, it's just, you can almost see how somebody who's been vetted and educated and passed all the prerequisites and becomes a police officer suddenly gets tainted and turns and changes and adapts to deal with the situation that it's in. And I don't think they get the respect that they should. I've seen them. I've seen people get pulled over the street in front of our stores 25 miles an hour. And cops pull them over, and these people start yelling and screaming and cussing at them. Hey, you broke the damn law. If you think the cop's wrong, you argue with them in traffic court. End of story. You don't get out of your car and start screaming and cussing and slamming doors on your car because you're getting a stupid speeding ticket. Grow the hell up. So I don't know. Until the general public understands how to interact with the police other than running, screaming, yelling, cussing, fighting, and arguing, I don't know if it's ever going to change.
Amen. W2BTK.
Story, was it A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, and it was about that Red Sheetan guys, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the movie. And in one of the courtroom scenes, Jack Nicholson blows up and he gives a speech about, you know, somebody's got to do the dirty work, and you people don't have the stomach for it, and we have to do it. And yes, things go wrong, and you don't like it all the time, but you want us to do the job. I don't know if you all remember that speech, but I sat there with my mouth open and said, you know, I don't care who wins the court battle. He's telling it the way it is. There are a lot of dirty things that go on in society and in the world, and those guys, whether it be in the military protecting us or the cops, they got to do what they got to do. And occasionally all the liberals are going to whine, and believe me, this is not directed at the specific case of this current dilemma that's going on, or some of the past ones I've seen where the guy's running away and he shoots him in the back, and it's like, what are you thinking? What is the matter with you? You know, obviously there's been some horrible atrocities, but you know, somebody's got to do the dirty work.
And dealing with the general public at that level is it ain't a lot of fun. Oh God, all the time that I spent, you know, Steve, we were radio guys, right? You did the same thing I did. I was in the local police stations, servicing a little dispatch console, you know, right there at the desk. So they had the desk officer and maybe an assistant to the desk officer, and he's got the console in front of him and the 911, and he's dealing with all that crap. Plus he's got the window, and he's got to deal with the walk-ins and the general public. And what I saw over the years, between the absolute insanity of the general public walking up to the window and the ridiculous level of resisting and stupidity of the perps that they brought in, and they would, you know, be perp walk right by me. I'd be right there next to the guy working on the desk, so I saw it all, I heard it all. And Billy's right. People have no idea how to react around the cops, and generally, you know, they're just way wrong, especially in the affluent suburbs where I worked. I didn't work in a rural area, and it was just, oh my God. I always admired the cops that I did work for. I gotta get out of here in a second. I always really admired the guys that I was doing work for their level of restraint and professionalism dealing with the wackos that are out there.
Respect is a lost art.
Hell of a job, that's all I can say. And there are a few idiots like we're seeing recently, and it's a dirty job, but somebody's going to do it. And I guess part of that job is that some are going to make mistakes, and they're all going to pay for it. Sad, sad, sad. All right, well, I'm done. You know, I'm not going to change anything the more I talk, so hopefully it all quiets down. I think they're doing a good job with these protests, probably helping spread the virus, so maybe we'll get this news cycle over, and this will be over, and then we can go back to the second wave of the virus. Hi. 7-3s, guys. Sorry for flapping my jaw too much. I hope you have a good evening. WA1STH listing out.
See you, Steve.
Yeah, good night, Steve. No, this is good. I haven't been on the air for a week or... Well, I haven't been on 75 for a week or two. I've been up on 6. 6 has been going crazy. It was good to get back on here for a while, have a a good discussion about current events, and a good group in here tonight. So Bill, Perry, Clark somewhere, Steve, and Brent, God knows who all else. So I'm going to shut this thing down. Thanks for letting me in. This is W2JBL. Good night.
See you, Chris.
That's right.
How do you know it's not left?
Because I see what's going on with left on TV.
And I expect you to do your usual good job.
See that?
As Master of Ceremonies, the baton has been passed.
I hear you, Connor.
Okay, let's take check-ins from only stations running under 20 watts.
Well, Clark just flattened you.
Well, I want to tell Connor that I hear him up in New Hampshire this evening. Connor, have a good evening. Clark is in charge of entertainment. If he doesn't do a good job, my email address is good on QRZ.
That's crazy. Connor has absolutely no signal here.
Yep, I don't hear him either, Brian. Normally I hear him fairly well.
Yeah, someone tell me when it's okay to talk.
Don't listen to Billy, because I'm not hearing Connor.
Well, he's out there. And guess what? He's an 18-year-old kid who loves AM.
Propagation's all screwed up, Billy, because normally I hear him, and I'm not hearing him at all tonight.
I wonder if he's working that station remote up in New York like he has been. That might be why, well, never mind. I don't know. That might explain, maybe that's why Billy can hear him and we can't.
Who's the Kilo 4 station? I didn't get the suffix. Kilo Oscar 4, November Victor blank. You're a little low here. This is W2BTK, Bill in New Jersey. Oh well.
W2BTK, this is W1MAK.
Oh, W1MAK, I heard that.
Yeah, I've been listening to you guys for about a little bit of that very interesting. But about the police matter, having been a police officer, sad part is that yo-yo out in Minneapolis who did what he did, we've all got to wear the same hat now. We've all got to take the same heat. So when we've always been told, when you're going to make a move, make sure you make the right move, because it's going to reflect on every police officer. Everyone's going to have to carry your mistake.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing about it, and there's all this hatred and discontent, and it's directed at police officers, not these people who made a bad decision and are acting poorly. They are police officers, but that's it's just I agree, it's a bad, it's I don't know what to say about it. There's plenty of intelligent, good police officers out there who serve their community and take care of people, and I see that, but everybody, they're so quick to forget that as soon as something like this happens. And they're just looking for excuses and this and that, and it's really sad. So, you know, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for what you do. W2BTK.
Sad part about it all, too, is nobody recognizes the police officer by his face. He only recognized him by his uniform.
Yeah. But hey guys, I got to I'm gonna give my buddy a call. I haven't talked to him in a while, and phone call might take a little bit. So if I don't get back on the air, you know, it's nice talking to all of you. But I gotta call my friend Jake, man. See how he's doing. It's been a while since I talked to him, so I'm gonna go do that, and I might get on the air in a little bit. I'm not too sure. It'll probably be kind of late by the time we finish up, but yeah, I'm gonna go make a phone call. So nice talking to all you guys. If you're still out here in like an hour or two, we'll pick it up. W2BTK on Montana Mountain in New Jersey.
I think we should just sit here and wait for you to get back.
You could do that if you want.
We'll probably do that.
Have a good evening, Billy. I don't know if I'll be here in an hour or two, but it was good talking to you this evening. Thanks for chit-chatting and showing me the virtual tour of the ham shack. We'll catch up with you later, buddy.
All right, Dave, you're sounding good on the flex. Keep playing with that audio, man. If you're having fun, that's a good thing. W2BTK, see ya.
He's probably wearing khakis, Billy. See you later, KB3WFE.
Hey, wait. Who's wearing khakis?
Bill's friend Jake.
In a red shirt.
He's probably wearing a Meatmen shirt and drinking Busch Light, if I had to guess. W2BTK.
A Meat Men shirt? Is that like a shirt for meeting men?
No, it's a band. Go on YouTube and look up the Meatmen. They're like a punk rock band. Tesco V. I won't say anymore. Look, I keep signing out, so I keep having to throw my call sign at the end of every transmission because it's supposed to be my last one. W2BTK, and I don't want to piss off Clark.
Yep, more encores than Phil Collins. All right, enjoy your evening.
All right, where are we at? Yeah, I gotta go make a phone call, guys. A friend of mine reached out to me and asked me to give him a call, so I'm gonna go do that. And you know, I guess I could leave the live stream up. You could listen, but you know, you can go on other websites and monitor this frequency and stuff. So if I'm not going to be active here, I don't see a point in leaving the stream up. So there's a good chance I'll get on in a little bit, in like an hour or two, and I finish up on the phone. But if I don't, thank y'all for watching and hanging out with me, man. I really like this. So if you haven't hit the follow button and you like what you're seeing, consider it. You'll get notifications when I go live. It'll be a little easier to find me. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll see you guys all later. Giant, Hera, everybody in the chat, thanks for stopping by, man. And we'll pick this up again. Peace out, guys.